I like fun facts, I like unfun facts, but I also like fun unfacts. Things that we all just sort of absorbed as children, but definitely aren't true. Number one, you use way more than 10% of your brain. No shame if you believed this, because a study in 2012 showed that 50% of elementary school teachers believed it. As far as we can tell, it started out in the 1800s from somebody who was trying to explain why some kids are prodigies. Spoiler, it was actually money and opportunity. Neurologists now agree that you use basically all of your brain, and most of the time, the entire thing is active. So when people were spreading this myth, remember, it wasn't that they were only using 10% of their brains, it's that 100% of their brains were bad. Number two, gum does not take 7 years to digest. This is really funny because it's both way under and way overestimating the problem. It's under because there is no amount of time that it will digest. We don't have the enzymes to digest gum. But it's also way over because it's not going to stick around. Your whole stomach empties in a few hours most of the time, so it's just going to head on its merry way, fully intact. It's going all the way down, all chutes, no ladders, like when the family dog ate a bunch of Christmas tinsel. Number three, toilets don't flush backwards in Australia. There's a real thing called the Coriolis effect, and what it says is that because the Earth is spinning, air is going to deflect in opposite directions above and below the equator. It's cool. It does mean that hurricanes spin in opposite directions, but your toilet is just way too small to be affected by the fact that one side of it is closer to the equator than the other. It doesn't take 100% of your crappy brain to figure out that whatever direction the water is shooting in the bowl is the direction the gum you dropped out is going to spin. Here are 4 more things I was told as a kid that turned out not to be true at all. Number 1, humans have exactly 5 senses. I guess there are 5 S-tier senses, there are 5 first-round draft pick senses, there are 4 face holes in a skin. I see how they got there, but come on. Temperature, that's a huge one. Not sure how that was left off the list, but there are so many more. Balance, hunger, time passing. That feeling when you meet somebody that you recognize them, but you're not sure if it's because you've actually met before or if they just look like somebody from television and it's weird if you guess wrong. I've seen neuroscientists put the number around 30. I don't know why you can't just tell kids that. I could have handled it. Number 2, it's dangerous to swim right after you eat. Yeah, you could get a side ache, but no one says you have to wait 30 minutes after you eat a meal to do jumping jacks. So what else is going on? Apparently it comes from the fact that your digestive system does pull a little bit of extra blood when you've just eaten something, but people thought it was going to pull so much blood that your arms and legs wouldn't work correctly and you would drown. I eat all the time, several times a day, and not once have I finished a meal and my arms just flopped limply like pool noodles after I was done. I would have noticed that. Number 3, Santa. Still mad about that. Number 4, bats are blind. No, they aren't. That's just some weird bat slander that isn't even a little bit true, and I don't want to admit when I learned that that wasn't true, but it was recent. And it's not like they're almost blind or they're basically blind or they're not allowed to drive without corrective lenses. They just have eyes that they can see with, and that's it. That's the whole truth. And I don't know about everybody else, but I'm pretty sure I have 31 senses because now I have a strong sense that anything I was told as a kid was nonsense. 4 more things I was told as a kid that turned out to be complete lies, but this time I was relieved when I found out they weren't true. Number 1, cow tipping isn't real. Cows are heavy boys. You're gonna need at least 3,000 newtons of force, probably around 10 people to push one over, and that's if they promise not to move. And I'm glad it's not real, because I love cows, and tipping culture is out of control. Number 2, I think a lot of people already knew this, but you don't swallow any spiders while you're sleeping. Spiders are extremely sensitive to vibrations, and they hate wet places. They're not gonna climb on you if they can avoid it, and they're definitely not gonna go into your mouth. And I don't buy that one person is throwing off the average, because even if Spiders George ate 300 million spiders, the average per person in the US would still be below 1, and the median would be 0. Number 3, frogs won't just sit there while you boil them. This is like the cows. Did people forget that animals can move? If you slowly heat up water with a frog in it, it'll leave. One of amphibians' best skills is thermoregulation, so if they don't like the temperature of your hot tub, they're not going to stay for the party. And number 4, if you swallow watermelon seeds, they're not going to grow into watermelons in your stomach. It's really fun to scare kids with that one, but it is burbling and acid-filled and pitch black and dirt-free, and they hate it there. But some animals will pass a seed through them without digesting it, and I really appreciate them for it. For example, the giant sloth would eat an avocado whole and then take the pit somewhere else and then accidentally plant it with his butt, and that's why I can have $17 avocado toast, but then they do ask me to tip 25% because tipping culture is out of control. Some more mini unlearning. Here are 3 more things that I thought were true until surprisingly recently, but turns out aren't true at all. Number 1, ostriches don't bury their heads in the sand. They do bend over to eat like other tall, dumb-looking birds, so somebody just saw one with its head near the sand and misunderstood, and then it stuck around because it's really funny looking in cartoons and is a perfect metaphor in sentences like, anytime there's a threat to American democracy, Mark Zuckerberg buries his head in the sand. There is at least one animal I know about that does does hide that way, but it's not a bird. It's a toddler playing hide and seek. Number 2, people aren't right-brained or left-brained. There are slightly different parts of your brain that light up during scans, but all of the modern research seems to suggest it's a complex interplay of all of your brain. Also, the idea that everybody is either left-brained or right-brained is part of a bigger grift of astrology for business retreats. Somebody writes a book where it's like there are exactly 8 types of people based on no science whatsoever, and then they make people wear name tags that are like, I'm less of a sunset and more of a lemon grove. And if you believe that stuff, you're not left-brained, you're brain left. Zing. Oh, by the way, for no reason, I feel like mentioning that I also post these same videos every day on the other 2 major platforms. Number 3, your tongue does not have distinctive regions that taste different things. Very similar to that brain thing. I don't know why everybody wants your body to have neatly segmented areas like kids who won't eat food if it touches, but it turns out that graphic I was literally showed in school by a teacher that's like tongue phrenology isn't real. You have different receptor proteins for sweetness and bitterness and stuff, but they're just spread out all over your mouth. There does seem to be one specific area that is focused on bad taste, but it's not in your mouth. It is Mark Zuckerberg's closet. Time for another episode of Mini Unlearning, a quick rundown of things that I was told as a kid that turned out not to be true. Number 1, sugar does not make kids hyper. There have been good studies going back to 1995 that show there is no impact on kids' behavior when they consume a lot of sugar. What they did was give drinks to a bunch of kids, and some of them had real sugar and some of them had a fake sweetener, and they found no difference in the behavior of the kids. But what they did find was that parents whose kids had gotten the sugar drink rated their kids as much more hyper, even if the scientists lied to them about which drink they got. Scientists are devious, man. They're like pranksters for good. Number 2, a dog's mouth is not cleaner than a human's mouth. It's hard to figure out what this would actually mean. Human mouths have human mouth bacteria and dogs' mouths have dog mouth bacteria. And you can't even say that that's clean or dirty because bacteria is not inherently dirty. It's part of your whole body's microbiome and it's crucial. Without it, you would die. People sometimes say something is so clean you can eat off it. And the truth is, I would not eat food out of a dog's mouth, but I would eat food out of my own mouth. Ergo, scientifically, my mouth is cleaner. Number 3, carrots don't help your vision. This isn't just a random myth, though. This is a carefully calibrated piece of propaganda that helped the good guys win World War II. The British invented radar, and all of a sudden, they knew where German pilots were before the German pilots knew where they were. But they didn't want the Germans to know that that's what was going on, because then they might try to invent radar. So they took the fact that carrots do prevent some eye diseases because they've got a bunch of vitamins in there, and they ran with it. They gave all of their pilots extra carrots and told them, we're doing this because it makes your eyesight better. I think that's so cool. It puts the British Ministry of Information right up there with scientists who lie to moms.